Beloved Bhagwan, I am very angry with women. I don't like woman. Why is woman selfish? Why has woman no intelligence? Why is a woman like a cat? Bhagwan, why do you put woman on the way of Tao?
The woman is what man has made of her. It is a vicious circle. Man has deprived women from education, from other social institutions, economic freedom, and then you ask why women are unintelligent. You are the cause. Women have as much intelligence as any man. Because intelligence has no concern with sexual hormones. Do you think if you change Albert Einstein by plastic surgery into a woman, he will lose his intelligence? He will still remain Albert Einstein in a woman's body. The difference is only of the bodies. The difference is not of consciousness, not of intelligence. But unfortunately, man decided to repress women, it has been not clear to historians for centuries why it has to happen in such a way. But latest psychological researches make it very clear why it happened. It happened because man feels a deep inferiority complex in comparison to women. And the basic root of feeling comes from the capacity of a woman to become a mother. She is the source of life. She creates life. man is incapable of it. This became the reason to cut all the wings of women, of freedom, of education, and confine her into a prison-like home, and reduce her into just a factory of reproduction. So that he can forget that he is inferior. The woman had to be made inferior so that man can feel at ease. His ego can feel that now there is no competition with women at all. The woman is not the cause of all her bitchiness. You have been for thousands of years torturing her. No society in the world has accepted her as equal to man. No culture of the past has given the woman the same respect as it gives to man. On the contrary, they all have tried to enforce her into a subhuman existence. And the reason why the woman did not revolt against such things is simple. Again, the same motherhood. Because for 9 months, when she is pregnant, she becomes absolutely dependent. Particularly in a society which lived on hunting. And by the way, I would like you to remember that the society in which you are living now where houses exist, cities exist, that is a contribution from the woman, not from the man. The house is the contribution of the woman. Man was hunting. The woman was confined to a small space. Naturally, she started decorating it, cleaning it, making it beautiful, livable. And she became attached. In a hunting society, the nomads have to go on changing, because when the hunting is not giving them enough food, they have to move where the animals are. They cannot have permanent cities. They can have only tents, not houses. And you can see it when a man lives alone, his house is almost like a tent. It is not like a house. Without a woman, it remains a tent, a temporary place. Just a shelter. But nothing sacred about it. As the woman enters, the tent starts transforming into a house and finally into a home. In the hunting societies, the woman's function was nothing but reproduction. She was continuously pregnant. This became her failure. She could not fight. She could not rebel. She had to submit. She had to surrender. Of course, unwillingly. Nobody becomes a slave willingly. And when somebody becomes a slave willingly, there is no problem. But millions of women have been forced to become a slave unwillingly. Naturally, they try to take the revenge in indirect ways. All those ways combined make them cats. Their behavior becomes bitchy. But remember, a woman can be bitchy only with a dog. And a woman can be a cat only with a mouse. And that's why you are angry. Seeing a woman, you are reminded that you are a dog, you are a mouse. Your male chauvinistic attitude hurts. It is simply an unconscious reaction, and you have to be watchful of the reaction so that it can disappear. It is undignified of you. It shows something about you, not about the woman. It is your anger. It is your hate. If you will see the history, the women cannot enter in many religions in the temples. In some religions she can enter, but she has a separate section, not the same as men. In all the religions, the woman is not accepted as a candidate for the ultimate growth of consciousness. She is unworthy not for any other reason, but just because she is a woman. Her crime is that she is a woman. And she can evolve, but she will have to fulfill a condition. First, she will have to be born as a man. So in religions like Jainism, there are methods, rituals, religious disciplines for women, is specifically intended so that they can enter into a man's body in the next life. Now the whole Jainist attitude and philosophy can be disturbed, because a woman can become a man by plastic surgery with no difficulty. There is no need of all those disciplines and rituals and arduous austerities. Just a very small plastic surgery. And then you are capable of entering into the ultimate state of consciousness. It's strange that plastic surgery is needed for spiritual growth. But this was one way to condemn the woman. Another reason why man condemned the woman was the power of the woman over man. You can never forgive someone who has so much power over you. The woman is beautiful, attractive. Her beauty, her body, her attraction and you become just a beggar. And you are going to take revenge for that too. But everything is going in an unconscious state. You are not aware what you are doing and why. Man is almost magnetically pulled by the woman. He can see that he is just a puppet. How can he forgive the woman who has forced him to be just a puppet? Whatever he can do, he tries to do. The women anywhere is not allowed to read the Holy Scriptures. In many countries, she is not allowed even to show her face in the society. It was so in India, it is so in all the Mohammedan countries. I have heard when Maulana Nasruddin got married, just according to the tradition, his wife asked him, "To whom am I allowed to show my face?" Mullah Nasruddin said, "Just first let me have a look. Only then I can say anything." So he looked at the face, closed his eyes and said, "Enough. Except me, you are allowed to show your face to anybody." These are subtle ways of humiliation. Cutting women off from the world of power, from the world where everything is happening. Woman is not part of it. She is not part of your wars. She is not part of your businesses. She is not part of your religions. And there are countries like China, not a small country. A woman was reading in the newspaper that in every 4 men, one is a Chinese. She came very much worried and concerned. She said to the husband that now you have to be careful. We already have 3 boys. And this paper says that in every 4 there is one Chinese. And I don't want any Chinese in this house. In this vast 1/4 humanity, for 10,000 years it has been believed that the woman has no soul. She is as soulless as your furniture. Hence, if a husband kills his wife, there is no crime. He has simply destroyed his property. There is nobody else concerned to come in between it. Thousands of women have been killed by their husbands, but the court, the law, does not accept it. Because how can you kill somebody who has no soul? In India, millions of women have been burnt alive for the simple masochistic ego, the male ego. That if I am dead and my wife is beautiful, young, she may get married again. This jealousy was the reason to decide that every woman should jump in the burning funeral pyre with her husband. The husband is dead, the living woman has to jump into the fire. And for 10,000 years we have practiced it. It still happens once in a while. Although now there is law against it. One feels as if we don't give any attention to our social modes, our behavior modes, because in the whole Indian literature I have not come across a single statement saying that if women are required to die with their husband's death to show their faith, their love, then why men are not required to do the same? What kind of game is this in which the rule applies only to the woman, not to the man? The society is made by man. Women are living in a society which is not made for them, not made by them. It has not considered them at all. Your anger to women is worth to be understood. It is really perhaps your anger against yourself, your anger against man, what man has done to women. Women have been victims. You cannot be angry at them. In the home, the husband is the victim. And it can be said without any doubt that every husband is handpicked. In fact, every intelligent husband has to be. Only some idiot may not be. But this is the price that every man has to pay for what mankind has been doing to womankind for thousands of years. If you want to get free from your anger against women, you will have to go through a very deep inner spring cleaning and see that the woman is the victim. And because she is the victim and has no positive way to resist, to fight, she finds indirect ways of nagging, of screaming, of throwing tantrums. These are simply hopeless efforts. And naturally, her rage against whole humanity becomes focused on one man, the husband. The freedom of women is going to be the freedom of men too. The day the woman is accepted as equal, given equal opportunity to grow, man will find himself suddenly free from the bitchiness that he used to feel from the woman, and will be surprised that neither she is a cat nor he is a dog. Both are human beings. It is time man has come to a certain maturity where we can create a world together, men and women sharing their insight, their visions, their dreams, because they are different. Their dreams are different. Their contributions to the society will be different. And if a society can be created in which men and women have participated equally, that will be the richest society in the world for the first time. And without all this bitchiness and nagging and fighting, this is a strange and stupid way of living. But just because your father used to live this way, it is accepted almost as if it is something religious. Your forefathers has to do it, you have to do it. Your children will learn it from you. Every generation goes on giving its diseases to the coming generation. My people have to be aware and alert not to pass on any sickness from the past generation which they may have received. Let it be the dead end. Don't pass it to the new generation. Let the new people grow, the new earth, the new man. The old has failed so badly that there is no point in renovating it. It is all ruins. It needs to be simply written in the history books. Pieces of it preserved in the museums. But from life it has to disappear.
Beloved Book One, I, like many of your disciples, tried many ways to change myself, give to others, and serve the planet. I was a missionary in Africa, a psychotherapist in Beverly Hills, marched against Vietnam, did groups and yoga, joined various Save the World efforts, and it was all like pissing in the ocean. I had a good time, but it was fairly insignificant compared to the rapidly accelerating dangers of nuclear weapons, overpopulation, and warring nations. One day it occurred to me that you were the only one who was outrageous and radical enough to perhaps make a difference. I hitched my wagon to a star, you, and that was the smartest and most loving thing I ever did. But Bhagwan, are we, so much more brilliant than other people? Why are people so threatened by what I see as your love and compassion? Why are people willing to remain dinosaurs, risk extinction, prefer dying and destroying each other? Why do they cling to outdated nations, religions, and armies, even though it's obviously not working? If Ronald Reagan had really paid attention and really cared about peace, he would have invited you to be his special advisor, not conspired to have you ousted from America. Why are most people afraid to drop the past and come to something or someone who could help peel away conditioning so unleashed energy can really change us and the world? And why don't more people who spout one planet, one people, drop their ineffectual efforts to align with you? In my opinion, if we were to rally around something that could make a difference, it's not an idea, but you, who has the vastness to create real transformation. Is this right? And are you also working through us, your disciples?
Khalil Gibran has a small story. One full moon night, few people came to his small pub. And drank and drank. He was very happy. Great earning. And when they were leaving, he asked the man who was paying, that will you be coming again? We will do everything better. The man said, we are happy as things are. You have done them as beautifully as possible. Just with your prayer, pray for my business to run well. We will be coming every night. He said, there is no problem in it. I will be praying for you every morning, every evening, every night. But just out of curiosity, I want to ask, what is your business? He said, it is better if you don't ask. But I can understand it will be difficult for you to resist the temptation. My business is to sell wood for funeral pyres. So whenever more people die, my business goes good. Whenever less people die, of course, it is unfortunate and I have to suffer it. So if you want your business to go good, you have to pray for my business to go good. Our interests are the same. In this whole society, as an intelligent and alert person, you are bound to be surprised that why things go on happening the way they should not. Wars are not needed. Riots are not needed. Bloodshed is not needed. Nuclear weapons are not needed. Half of the earth is dying by starvation, and you are preparing more destructive weapons. It is simply insane. But the trouble is that all these insane people have the same interest. The presidents, the prime ministers of all the nations, all the countries, have the same interest. If nations disappear, they will be disappearing. What about their power trip? The head priests of all religions are worried. If all religions disappear and there is only a religiousness, the priests will not be needed. The churches will not be needed. They have the same interest, that this society should remain as it is. Miserable, in anxiety, in continuous fear, in deep anguish, a meaningless existence, carrying one's own dead bodies on one's own shoulders from cradle to grave, and it is all desert. Flowers appear only in dreams. In reality, it is burning sun and hot sand. Nothing green grows. If we see this, why we don't change? Why we go on and on into the same rut for thousands of years? The same misery, the same anguish, the same war. Nothing seems to change. It seems as if we are caught in a wheel, and the wheel goes on moving fast. Again and again the same thing. Yes, history repeats, and repeats in such detail that it is possible only because man functions like a machine. These people are not going to support any change, because every change means disappearing of the old structure in which they were important. With a silent, sincere, loving, compassionate, human being coming on the world stage with joy, these few moments of being alive and you cannot purchase life. The gift is invaluable. Alexander the Great threatened one Hindu sannyasi that if you don't come with me to Athens, I will kill you. My master Aristotle wants to see a sannyasi. The sannyasin said, there is no problem in it. You simply cut my head. You will see it falling on the ground, I will see it falling on the ground. Because I am not the body. And I am no more interested carrying this body to the grave. If you are ready to do it, I am thankful to you. In fact, the sannyasin said that if you understand, you should not only cut my head, you should cut your too. Because it is just a meaningless existence. As far as I am concerned, it is meaningless because I have achieved that which is significant, which is a higher quality than meaning. I have known, seen, felt, I have been in that wonderland. Nothing more can be added to it. So going on living in the body is meaningless for me. To you also it is meaningless, but for different reasons. To you it is meaningless because you have not found anything. And time is running out of your hands. And just after 13 days, Alexander died. And he was only 33 years of age. And that old saint who has offered his head with such grace, with such joy, with such fearlessness, that Alexander for the first time felt it is difficult to cut the head of this man. He had cut millions of heads. He had never bothered about it. But about this man, he hesitated. He pushed his sword back into the sea. And in 13 days' time, he was dead. He wanted, after conquering the world, to rest, relax, and to know what this life is all about. But the condition that he has put was very idiotic. After conquering the world, we have a small time. The world is big. And its problems are such that all the powerful people would not like any kind of change. That's the reason why they are annoyed with me. Not that I am wrong and they are right. They know perfectly well they are wrong. Because my whole life I have been challenging them on every single point of significance. No answer. Because they don't have the answer. But your misery and their power, they are interdependent. If you want to get out of the misery, you will have to drop these vested interests and the people who are powerful because of them. And certainly because they have power, they will do everything to prevent any revolution to happen. And if it happens, then too they will try in every possible way to sabotage it. Up to now they have been successful. Either they don't let it happen, or if it happens in spite of them, they sabotage it so beautifully and they are again in power. The names change. In Russia, those people who were in power before revolution were the capitalists. Just a word. Still there are people who are in power, more in power than the previous ones. They are not called capitalists, they are called communists. They are more dangerous. They have more power and they are more aware that revolutions can throw people who are in power, because they have come by throwing the powerful people. So they are protecting their power number with every scientific, psychological, parapsychological devices. Russia certainly in this is in a strange position. It is the only country where revolution cannot happen. All the possibilities of revolution have been destroyed by the revolutionaries who have come into power. They know perfectly well how they have come into power. They have broken all the bridges, all the ladders, temples have been burned. So in Russia, the powerful group and the masses are absolutely without any bridge between them. It is true that every sannyasin of mine is working in different ways. Not as a missionary, but as a living mission. Not trying to convert people by teaching them, but challenging people for a transformation by presenting their own life. By presenting their own joy, their love, their song, their dance. This is no ordinary conversion that a Hindu becomes a Christian. It is true conversion. That a fast asleep person becomes fully awake. And from darkness to light. And from untruth to truth. And from death to immortality. But I don't want you deliberately to become my missions. I want you to be absolutely selfish so that you can blossom in your full glory. Your blossoming will trigger blossomings in others. Your flame will bring light, life, and fire to many. But this has not to be done directly. It is not your business. It is simply the impact of your transformed life.
Beloved Bhagwan, in the West, the portrayal of woman's body is used in films, books, and magazines. This art form is known as eroticism. Through the sculptures of Khajuraho and Ajanta, I've seen that similar art form was there in the East. Can you talk about the difference between these two cultures in regard to the female body?
Sarjano, superficially there is no difference. Khajuraho, Konark, Puri, Ajanta, Ellora, Elephanta, they are full of erotic art. Just like the contemporary erotic culture where the repressed sexuality of thousands of years has become such a burden that it has to be dropped. And suddenly, a great erotic revolution is taking place. Pornography in paintings, it is nothing but erotic and obscene. In films, in dances, they don't create in you a longing for the beyond. They simply create in you more sensuality, more sexuality. So on the surface, they look alike. And in India, and in outside world, they are being misunderstood. Mahatma Gandhi has proposed after the country became independent that all these sculptures, all these temples should be drowned into mud. So they will not be destroyed. Ronald Reagan comes to see, then you can clean it and show him for special people, but for ordinary people, they will be closed. Because Mahatma Gandhi thought in the same way as it is thought all over the world, that they are erotic, they are obscene, but I want emphatically to declare that there is a vast difference between both. The Eastern art in Ajanta, Ellora, Puri, Konar, Khajuraho, and the modern Western erotic, pornographic, photography, painting, music. The difference is all these temples, for example, there are 30 temples in Khajuraho. There were 100 temples originally. Mohammedans have destroyed 70 temples which are now ruins. The city was only a city of temples. People just used to come to see the art. 100 temples must have been built in thousands of years by thousands of artists continuously working on stone. Generations after generations may have died working into it, and they have created the most beautiful bodies in stone. In Khajuraho, stone it speaks, sings, dances. It is not dead. You can see that the artist has succeeded in transforming the dead stone into a living form. It looks so alive that any moment the statue may walk towards you and say hello. And hundreds of statues. These statues were not to satisfy your repressed sexuality. On the contrary, they were as a tantrika method to release the repressed sexuality just by meditating on these naked statues. The method was simply to sit there in silence, only dim light reaches, and hundreds of statues surround you. Just watching them, you will be surprised to find that many of those dreams have occurred to you. Many are such which have been condemned in every society. Sexual orgies, but they have happened in your dreams. They are part of your unconscious. And these places like Khajuraho were kinds of universities where people were coming to release, to cathart repressed sexuality. And all these statues are outside the temple. Inside the temple, there is no erotic sculpture. In fact, in most of the temples inside there is nothing, just silence. A cool, peaceful milieu, having wives of thousands of years of people meditating there. The rule was, when you feel, or your master feels, that now the erotic sculpture outside the temple does not affect you. It does not create any sexuality in you, any sensuality in you. That it has cleaned your whole repressed sex. It is the greatest psychological method invented by the East. Nobody is told what is happening, and there is no need for ears. Once the master watches, and once you watch, that you sit there, but nothing happens, as if the walls are empty. When you are absolutely certain that they don't affect you, that is a signal. Now it is time you can go inside. Now the door for the inner, the interior is open. All that was rubbish has been dropped. A cleanliness. A weightlessness. And a silence which is full of beauty and sound. Khajuraho or Konark, these are not pornographic. They are devices of meditation. what is happening in the West is simply pornography, obscene, does not help man to get rid of it, but simply helps him a temporary relief. The pornographic literature, photography, they are all helping you to keep normal. Otherwise, you will go mad. So I don't think there is any harm when somebody reads Playboy, hiding it inside the Bible. What he is seeing in a pornographic magazine brings his own unconscious. This was used as a meditation technique in Khajuraho. In the West, it is used to create more thirst for the same sexuality which has been aroused by the pornographic magazine, by the blue films, by naked dances, striptease. The same method was used to transform your energy into such spirituality. In the West, it is used to provoke more sexuality, more sensuality. And then there is a kind of insatiation. Almost all the paintings have gone pornographic. All the movies repeating almost the same story, the same plot, the same triangle, two women, one man, or two men, one woman, a simple structure, the same story. What attracts people? It is not great appreciation for literature. What attracts that in the story, needed or not needed, they go on putting your suppressed needs, desires, it is a kind of relief. But tomorrow you will be repressing again. And again you will need the same kind of photography, the same dance. This way you will never be able to enter into the temple. In fact, pornography in the West has no idea that it is the outer wall of the temple. The East has used every fragment of human nature for a greater change, mutation, to bring something higher in you of which you are capable, but unconscious.
Beloved Book one side of me is receptive and vulnerable. The other side is strong and powerful. When I leave my room, I put out my strong and powerful side to protect myself. But my receptive side likes to dance and enjoy existence. I'm in a mess. Please comment.
There is no problem. Everybody has these two sides. That is the man and the woman syndrome. Your half is man and the other half is woman. And it has to be that way because your half has come from your father and your half has come from your mother. So you are contribution of two different kind of persons, two different psychologies. Naturally, they create two sides in you. The vulnerable, loving, trusting, that is your woman. And the strong, competitive, efficient, that is your man. And naturally, when you go out of your home, you have to change your personality. You have to hide your vulnerable part, and you have to put a harder, a steel mask. You are going into a world of competition. It becomes a problem when you start thinking that this dialectic should not be in you. That is the time when it becomes a problem. If you understand that this dialectics is very necessary, they both are complementaries. They both are needed just like day and night, life and death. They both are needed. So one need not be worried that there are two sides. They are your two doors. And you have to start witnessing yourself as the third. You are not this, you are not that. Because you can change them. They are clothes. You put on the clothes of the woman, you put on the clothes of a warrior. They are clothes. Certainly they are not you. So those two parts in you are really two parts of your mind, two hemispheres of your mind. And they are as absolutely necessary as two wings or two hands. The bird cannot rise into the sky with one wing. Those two wings are absolutely necessary. They are not against each other, even if though their movements are against each other, they are supporting each other, they are helping each other, and more fundamentally they are helping the bird, which is the third. It is perfectly good outside, be a daan koi jhote. Always keep a sword, even if it is false, no harm. Because the real can be dangerous, how to hold it. And you may harm yourself. Have big mustaches. And find some good German glue. Make the mustaches stand like Rana Pratap. But when you come back home, put this whole makeup aside with care, because tomorrow you will need it again. And this has to be done without any seriousness. It is simply the ordinary business of life. Different things are needed at different places. There is a story that in Rajasthan is the province of the warriors. A young businessman came to settle in a town. The Rana of the town, the head of the town, the chief of the warriors, had something crazy about himself. He will not allow anybody to have his mustaches showing upward. They should move downward. In front of him, that was the rule. And he was very dangerous man. He will cut your head immediately if you don't come with your mustaches moving down. So the whole town by and by has started growing the mustache downward. Because this was dangerous. You may forget and you may reach that man and life is at risk because he is just crazy. He simply cuts people's heads. Only his mustaches can remain standing up. Of course, he is the chief. This young businessman had also big mustaches standing up. People said, "You are settling in this town, then remember, you either cut these mustaches or move them downward. Otherwise, soon you will be in unnecessary danger." The young man said, "You don't be worried. I will see that." And next day, he went with his mustaches up to see the warrior. But as he was coming out of his house, the warrior was there because somebody has said that one person in the city is having his mustaches up. So he had come to see who is that man. Finish him. Because there is no need to make unnecessary long stories when a shortcut is possible. Looking at him, he immediately took out his sword. The young man said, "Wait. Mustaches I cannot turn down. And it is not easy to cut my head because I challenge you for a fight. But before that, I would like you to go and tell your friends, meet your friends, your family, your children, because I am up to now an unconquered warrior, although I do the work of a businessman. And bring your sword, and I will be waiting for you here." And meanwhile you are gone, I will go and cut my wife's head and my children's head, because after I am gone, who will take care of them? Unnecessary trouble. After you are gone, who will take care of your children? Unnecessary trouble. Finished. So we go from the world without any burden. The man said, it sounds logical. He went back, he finished his wife, his children. Everybody said, what are you doing? Have you gone really mad? Just about the mustache was okay. We have accepted it, that it is not much, just eccentric. But what are you doing? You have killed your wife, your children. He said, not only I have killed, another man has also killed. It is a question of prestige. In this town only one man can live with mustaches upwards, not everybody. So this was the condition, that I can meet my people, he can meet his people, and he will be coming and I am going, and on the crossroads we will face each other. It is heard, rumor is that he is a great warrior. But that is not a problem. To be a warrior is in our blood. There he reached and he could not believe. He saw the young man had put his mustaches down. Just glue them downward. Just you need good glue. Don't use Indian glue. Otherwise, unnecessarily somebody may cut your head. He said, what have you done? He said, no, I just thought, why kill your wife, your children? Those poor people have not done anything to me, and I am becoming a cause of their death. Of course, my wife and my children are mine, I can kill them, but not yours. So I thought, just because of the mustache, it is not big job. Just within 2 minutes I turned them down. The man said, this is dangerous. And what you did with your wife and children? He said, there was no need to do anything, because when I turned my mustache, why should I cut my wife and children's heads? He said, you are dangerous. I have finished my whole family. These people in different names, in different cultures are there, whose function is to fight and to destroy. And naturally, when you come out of your house, you are coming into a war field where everybody is competing with others. 1,001 types of fights are going, which you cannot see. Invisibly, they are all joined in fighting each other. On small things, fights are going. One couple had just signed in the marriage registrar's office. They were getting married, And as the man signed, the woman said to the registrar that I want immediately, right now, a divorce. He said, are you mad? You are just signing for marriage and immediately for divorce. He said, seeing my signature, he has signed his signature 3 times in big letters. It is better to put this fight here and now and say goodbye to this fellow. Whole life and everything 3 times. On small things, people are continuously fighting. Naturally, you come with a security, hardness, no love, no trust, doubt, suspicion, skepticism, taking everybody as your competitor, everybody as your enemy. But this is the game. Don't become too much attached to this part of the play. When you go home, just put it aside completely and be the other part which has been denied. And once you start moving from one part to another easily, the more and more clear it starts coming to you that you are separate. You are just a witness, a watcher. This is your mind, but this is not your being. One who is aware of this whole game is the being. And to realize the being is to realize all that is worth.
Beloved Book 1, in a world ridden with hate and hostility, sadness and sorrow, you seem to be the lonely bard of love and laughter. Is this not hilarious?
It is. Maitreya it is hilarious. But somebody has to begin it. We want the world to be less serious. And more sensitive. Sincere, of course, but serious never. We want the world to learn that the sense of humor is one of the most fundamental qualities of a religious man. If you cannot laugh, you will miss many things in life. You will miss many mysteries. Your laughter makes you a small, innocent child. Your laughter joins you with existence, with the roaring ocean, with the stars and their silence. Your laughter makes you the lonely part of the world which has become intelligent, because only intelligent people can laugh. That's why animals cannot afford to laugh. They don't have that much intelligence. You can try, you can tell a joke to your buffalo and see what happens. And because seriousness has been always taught to be almost necessary for respectability, that it has made everybody serious. It is not that they are serious for any reason. Now it has become their second nature. They have forgotten completely that seriousness is sickness. It means sense of humor is dead in you. Otherwise, the whole life all around is so full of hilarious things. If you have the sense of humor, you will be surprised that there is no time to be sad. Every moment something or other is happening everywhere. My mission certainly is to bring laughter to the whole humanity which has forgotten it. And with laughter you always forget songs, you forget love, you forget dance. It is not that you only forget laughter. Laughter has its own combination of qualities, just as seriousness has its own combination of qualities. Forget laughter and you will forget love. With a sad face, how to say to a woman, I love you? You will have to smile a little. With a serious face, you cannot even say a small thing. And everything people are taking so seriously that it becomes a burden on them. Learn to laugh more. To me, laughter is as sacred as prayer.
तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री, तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री गा रही हूँ तेरे पावन चरणों में पिया, झूम रही हूँ तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री गा रही हूँ तेरे पावन चरणों में पिया, झूम रही हूँ तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री। तू ही तो समझे मेरी ये भाषा, तू ही तो समझे मेरी ये भाषा, किससे करूं मैं और ये आशा, किससे करूं मैं और ये आशा, आशा ये अब तो परवान चढ़ी है तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री गा रही हूँ तोरे पावन चरणों में पिया, झूम रही हूँ तोरे कारण मैं भगवान श्री। आग जला दे मन मंदिर में, जल जाऊं मैं तेरी अगन में।